You and your partner are both bringing in great salaries, yet at the end of the month, you're staring at a joint checking account that looks like you both work part-time. Despite the high gross pay, you feel completely strapped for cash. There is a powerful psychological illusion that happens the moment two people combine their finances. You look at that new, larger pool of money, and suddenly you feel wealthy. Because that number on the screen is higher, you immediately begin doubling your lifestyle inputs. Society reinforces this. Having two salaries gives you the confidence to take on double the debt. You convince yourselves that you can finally afford the upgraded house in the better neighborhood, the two reliable new cars for your separate commutes, and the lifestyle to match. But this is the dual income trap. It is a design model that prioritizes outward aesthetic success while ignoring the underlying stability of the household. Feeling broke despite a high income is not a math error. It is the result of building a lifestyle that requires perfect conditions to survive, leaving no room for a single thing to go wrong. Let's run the exact math to see how quickly a high combined income gets consumed. We'll start with the baseline inputs: two partners who each earn $80,000 a year, creating a combined household gross income of $160,000. This fluid dynamics chart visualizes the true input of that salary. We start with the $160,000 pipe, but we immediately have to vent out federal taxes, state taxes, FICA, and a modest retirement contribution. What we are left with is a steady, usable flow of roughly $9,500 a month. Now we apply the primary structural load to that net income. You purchase a $500,000 house. Between the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and private mortgage insurance, your total monthly housing cost sits at about $4,367. Next, we add the secondary load. Because you both commute to those good jobs, you finance two average new cars. With payments and insurance, you are now routing roughly $2,000 a month just to transportation. Finally, we add the operational costs required to keep everything running: $800 for groceries, a few hundred for utilities, and maybe $600 for the student loans that secured those jobs in the first place. Every single drop of that $9,500 is completely spoken for. Doubling your income didn't double your wealth. It simply scaled your fixed liabilities so that your household now requires 100% of both incomes every single month just to survive. In engineering, a system operating at 100% capacity is inherently dangerous. It relies on a perfect scenario where every single component functions flawlessly, indefinitely, without interruption. Look at this load-bearing diagram of a bridge supported evenly by two pillars. If we introduce a sudden reduction in system input, say someone loses a job, has a medical emergency, or decides to stay home to raise a child, one pillar vanishes. The entire structural load violently shifts to the remaining support. In this overstressed state, even a minor, completely ordinary, unexpected expense becomes a massive crisis. A broken water heater or a set of new tires threatens to bring down the whole structure because you have left absolutely no surplus margin. From the outside, the household looks highly successful. Nice cars in the driveway, a beautiful home in a good neighborhood. But internally, you are trapped in a golden cage, working primarily just to maintain the fragile infrastructure you've built. When your baseline existence requires maximum output from all parties, you aren't actually wealthy. You are highly leveraged and constantly one single variable away from complete collapse. The solution to the dual income trap requires applying a basic engineering principle: redundancy. The most stable dual income households base all of their fixed, mandatory living expenses strictly on just one income. Executing this requires psychological discipline. If you both make $80,000, you have to willingly live a lifestyle that can be entirely supported by one single $80,000 salary. By doing this, you redefine the function of that second income. It is no longer a load-bearing pillar keeping the roof over your head. It becomes a dedicated, unencumbered wealth-building engine. You can tactically deploy that freed-up second salary right away. First, you eliminate any high-interest consumer debt. Then you stockpile a bulletproof emergency fund covering 6 to 12 months of living expenses. This exponential growth curve tracks the mathematical outcome of investing the remaining surplus. If you take just $3,000 a month from that second income and put it into low-cost index funds tracking the overall market, compound interest takes over. Within a 15 to 20-year timeline, that second income snowballs into well over $1 million. This surplus buys total optionality. It creates the freedom to walk away from a toxic boss, the ability to take a calculated risk on a new business, and the peace of mind that comes from knowing you will never be devastated by a single layoff. Building real wealth requires the structural discipline to live below your means.